I've uploaded almost 400 videos and I don't have a single one on how to do brakes. So today is going to be my take on how to replace your front brakes for beginners using common hand tools. This is going to be right to the point, contain a lot of great tips, which first one is use good parts. Anytime you're replacing the brakes on your car, it's a wise investment to spend the extra money and get the premium gold pads and rotors. I've got most of what I think we'll need right here. We'll go over the tools later, but it's nice to use a container like this. You throw everything, because of course you're going to be working on the ground in the driveway. You got our new brake rotors, the shims it came with, and your first step before you get started on the car is going to be getting some disc brake quiet. Sometimes you can rub it on, sometimes spray it on, but you want to spray this on the back of the brake pads, and this just acts as a damper and helps the pads stick to the calipers. This will dry on there and become tacky. This is on a 2004 Honda Civic. Your first step is going to be setting the parking brake and then taking your 19mm socket and cracking each of the 4 lug nuts loose while it's still on the ground, so you can actually get them loose. Now use a floor jack or the one in your trunk and jack it on the jacking point. And take the lug nuts off. And you can pop your wheel off. Sometimes you might need to get behind it with a hammer to hit it and break the corrosion off. It's a good idea to roll the wheel and put it underneath your car, so in case this jack was to fail. I'll also mention at this point, if you have jack stands, you'd also want to put those underneath the subframe or somewhere else as an extra precaution. Throw some cardboard down for your knees and to catch the rust coming off of here. Take some rust penetrant or WD-40 or anything and spray these screws and this whole area down, because that's going to help us out getting the rotor off here shortly. To get better access to the caliper, go turn your steering wheel all the way to the left. Since the left front tire is still on the ground, that could cause your jack stand or jack to shift a little bit, so make sure it didn't and you give it a good shove and everything's stationary. Or better yet, you could just jack both sides up at the same time if you're comfortable doing that. We've got plenty of access now and can remove our caliper pin bolts. These happen to be 12mm. Now, if the manufacturer used thread lock on these threads or they just had a lot of corrosion, you might find this caliper pin starts turning with it. So use some channel locks and you can hold the caliper pin from spinning when you're taking them off. I'm now going to push the caliper piston in using a flat blade screwdriver, and we're going to put it right in between the rotor and the brake pad. Since we're not reusing these rotors, we don't care about them. But before doing that, it's a good idea to pop off the rubber cap of your bleeder screw and then put a hose on this and crack it loose. I've got an old Pepsi bottle and a hose, 10mm. You go ahead, crack this bleeder loose. Now, you don't have to do this, because basically what happens is there's brake fluid behind this piston, and if you just push the piston in, it'll push all that old brown, hot, or black fluid back up into the lines, and if you haven't checked the fluid level in your master cylinder, then it could overflow it. So we want to avoid that. We'll just crack this loose and put the hose on there. If you don't have a hose and bottle to put on there, just make sure you come under your hood and you check the fluid level in your master cylinder. If it's low like this one is, then you're okay to go push that piston in, but if it's really high, you would want to suck some fluid out, because you'll see when we're done these brakes, this fluid will be much higher since the piston's going to be pushed back in. And once you're in about, maybe 3/4 of an inch, you can just push this piston back in. Now, at this point, if it's not going, then your piston is more than likely seized from corrosion or rust, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But that went all the way in. I can feel it. So now just close your bleeder port. Probably should have showed you it pushed the fluid back in here too. But yeah, you can see that black nasty fluid went down in there. And then pop the caliper off. You would now want to inspect the seal, and you can see this one actually does have a tear in it, so technically this caliper should be replaced. Once this boot is torn, it's really only a matter of time before road salt and everything else gets in between there and causes rust on this piston. But this one will be okay for now. We did push it in and it went in smoothly. If your piston didn't go in smoothly, you need new calipers. You don't want to hang this by the hose, so you can either place it somewhere like that or take a piece of wire and then just hang it from the strut up top and twist that around a little bit. Boom. Just don't want to hang it by the brake hose. Now for the caliper pins, do they move? Yes, they're a little tight, but I can move them. This one's a little seized up. If they were seized completely, you probably just want to replace the caliper. Also, if these boots are torn, you'd want to definitely get a hardware kit. But these, I'm going to take them out like so. And looks like somebody actually put anti-seize on these at some point, which is not really ideal. Let's see if I can get this bottom one out too. A little tight. If you put your channel locks on there loose and just give it a tap, should pop out of there. Make sure not to tear your boot though. And yeah, whoever last did these put anti-seize on the pins, and that's not a good practice. Spray those down with some WD-40 or PB Blaster and clean all that off of there. Those cleaned up pretty nice. If there's a little bit of rust up here, you can use a wire brush to clean that up. However, if they have a lot of deep pitting, you're better off replacing them. You will notice that one has a little rubber damper on it. Sometimes both do, but usually just one. And that goes on the leading edge of the caliper. So whichever side the caliper, the rotor is coming into. If the caliper was on the other side over here, it would be on the top. Now, since the previous guy put anti-seize in there, it wouldn't be a bad idea to come in here with a wire brush and try to get all of that out of there. But they weren't seized or anything, so I'll just take this screwdriver, make sure it's not packed in there or anything, kind of just rotating this around. And yeah, not too sludgy in there, but if you want to clean these bores out, you can. The proper lubricant you want to hit these with is, this is made by Permatex, but this is a silicone high-temp ultra disc brake caliper lube. You just take this out, and you don't want to go globbing this stuff inside the holes and packing it in there, but you do want to put a good little coating on each pin. Just don't go crazy with it, because otherwise you're going to end up with a pin that actually gets like almost hydro locked in there. When it heats up, it will be pushing out and causing your brakes to lock up. So not too much lube. And slide those back in. Now these should slide right in, nice and smooth. Yep, and they click into this boot. If they don't go in smooth, then go ahead and get yourself some wire brushes and clean out inside of these bores, because these have to be moving back and forth nice and smooth and easy like that. And you'll get maximum life out of your brake pads. You can now slide your brake pads out. You should be able to take them out with finger pressure, and if so, that's great. But if you have to take a screwdriver and hammer them out or whatever the case, that's fine. And take your brake shims out too. Hopefully your premium new brake pads are going to come with new shims, because these usually are stainless steel, but as you can see, they get kind of crowded up over time. Remove the two caliper bolts. These happen to be 17 millimeter. Usually these are pretty darn tight. So you can put an extension on here, on your ratchet. You put this on, and then should be able to, get nice momentum or force on that. Or another technique is hold your hand right here on it and boom, just don't hit the fender. And then luckily these are pretty much hand on. They're hand loose once I've loosened them. The bracket will come off with some rust, and that's what those bolts look like. You should take a glance at your pads also and see if you have any irregular wear. You can see these did have some taper, about maybe 7/32, and only 3 down here. A lot of time that's an indication of a stuck caliper pin, which that lower one was a little tight. You can also see that this squealer, this tab here, is in place to hit the brake rotor when the brakes get low, and this one actually broke off. We heard it squealing the other night, and then it went ping and went flying. So that's just an indicator to let you know you need brakes. I would have to say the crux of this entire job are these two Phillips head screws here. They're number 3 Phillips, and sometimes they can be really rusted and seized, and you might have to cut them off. So what you use to get them off is a hand impact, like so. This is definitely a specialty tool that's worth having. However, you might only have a hand screwdriver with the number 3 head on it. So let's see if these come off with that. Now, a rookie move would be just putting it on here and trying to crank away, and you'll just never get that. You're going to round it off. So the next thing you could do is put a pair of vice grips on here to get some leverage, or in this case, this has a nut on it, so you can put that on. And then same thing, push against it real hard and try to crank, but it's not going. So the first step, you always take your hammer and give a bunch of vibrations on it. We'll spray it down one more time on these screws, and then go ahead and hit this real good. You can hit right near the screws to help out too, but make sure you don't bump your studs. All right, let's see if they come off now. I'll put this back on, get some leverage, and let's see. Oh, yeah, see that? So after hitting that one actually wasn't too seized on the bottom. The top one, let's find out. All right, that one's not coming. So what you do, you take the hand impact, you put it on there and you rotate it left. And then, now what we do is actually rotate it back to the neutral position. This is probably a separate video for this really, but you rotate it to the neutral position and then start hitting it. Now rotate it a little bit left, hit it, and that screw will come off. These ones weren't too seized. However, if they were seized, then what you do is just drill them out or take a cutoff wheel and cut them apart. You can always cut a flathead into them too. If you have a cutoff wheel, you could cut a flathead and just, you don't need them. So if they're rusted and seized, you're in for a world of hurt if you don't have air tools or a drill. And now pop your rotor off. Should come off with one swing. Looks nice. Beautiful. Now obviously if you weren't replacing your rotor, then you wouldn't have used that original screwdriver technique to push the piston in, because you could see that put a deep groove in the rotor. I guess I didn't really touch on that before, but you can use a C-clamp to push this piston in. You can use a large set of channel locks to push it in, or many other methods. They sell brake caliper push-in kits too, the whole nine. It's very important that you clean the mating surface of your hub. This one's fairly clean already, but where that contacts the inside of your rotor, if you have a lot of rust on here and the rotor's not sitting on there flush, you're going to end up with pulsating brakes and problems. So it's good to take a wire brush like this, if you have air tools, to clean this surface off. Or you can use, if you're using hand tools, just use a wire brush and try to clean that off as best as possible. Again, if this is like really corroded up, you might have to get in here with something else to get that corrosion off, because otherwise, pulsating brakes, not good. And then you can hose that off with some brake clean, if you like. Wipe her down. I also like to take an extra step and use some anti-seize on this surface. You don't want to go crazy with it, but you just put a couple dabs on here like so, and then work that in with your fingers. And what that's going to do is help prevent a rotor from getting seized in the future on there. You could pop the rotor on. This one is coated, but if it's not, you would want to clean it off with brake clean to get off any of the oils that they put on them. However, these gold ones don't have that, so hopefully it fits in your case. Make sure that you line your holes up. Sometimes they are staggered. And if you don't have the small screws, set screws that hold the rotor in place, sometimes people like to thread a lug nut on and hold that flush. It helps when we're putting the caliper bracket back on. But in this case, I obviously have those screws. So put your 2 screws back in. If your rotor screws were really tight coming off, you might want to just leave them out of the equation or put some anti-seize. But once you snug them down, some people might not agree with this, but I do like to give them a little tap to secure them down with the impact. Because otherwise what happens is once you tighten down your lug nuts, 80 foot-pounds of torque, and it's clamping the rotor, these vibrate loose, and then when you take the wheel off, they'll tend to fall or they stick out a little bit. It's not good. So you want to make sure that they're nice and snug on there. And some people are probably like, oh, don't put those back on there. However, Honda put them in place for a reason. And I feel that one thing they really do nicely is when you remove this wheel, instead of the rotor sitting there loose and then a piece of crud or dirt could get in between the hub that I showed you that we put the anti-seize on and the brake rotor, if a little piece of dirt or sand gets back there and then you put the rotor back on, well, then you might end up with warped rotors. So these set screws prevent that from ever being a possibility. Now we got to put the new shims in the caliper, but before you do that, you'll want to clean out the corrosion and rust. So again, take your wire brush and you just go back and forth like this, get those nice and clean. However, if your pads were very hard to get out, then chances are you have a lot of rust buildup, which these are actually kind of caked up a little bit. And if that's the case, you definitely have to grind that. You have to get that down with either a file or a cutoff wheel. So like this square file, if you put this down, we can get these nice and clean. You can see why we put down cardboard before too, because all the rust that comes from that old rotor. But yeah, just file these down nice and smooth on the sides and on the bottoms. I don't have to get too crazy with these ones since the pads weren't tight, but you'll now want to take some of that silicone paste, and I like to put a nice little coating. And what that's going to do is help prevent any rust from starting under those stainless steel shims in the future. And click your new shims into place. And on top of the shim, you can dab a little bit of anti-seize. Don't go crazy with it. Just a little smear will do you. If you don't have anti-seize, silicone brake lube works too. You just want to put a tiny little bit of something on there. Not the end of the world if you skip this, but it'll prevent the ends of the pads from getting rusted prematurely and help them slide back and forth on those. It's not a bad idea to take a little blue Loctite and dab that on the caliper bracket bolts before putting them in and start those. Tighten those good and tight. There's probably a torque spec on them, but I find if you snug them down hard and then give them a little whack, a little impact with the hammer, they ain't going nowhere. Plus you got the Loctite. Got the new pads. The disc brake quiet has dried on there, and this tang right here, the one we were talking about earlier, that's going to go on the inboard at the leading edge, so at the bottom in this case. These slide in here nice and easy like that by hand. If you have to hammer them in, then take this back off, and that means you're going to have to grind some more of that rust off, or metal in some cases, underneath these shims, because these should slide in with hand. If you have to hammer them in, you're not going to get a lot of life out of those brakes. And then put your caliper back on. But don't make the rookie move of leaving a kink or twist in there. I've seen that happen a lot of time. You got to make sure that that is spun out and your caliper hose is routed properly. Should slide right on there. And tighten those down. If you want, you could put a little blue Loctite on them too, but I mostly just do that on the larger caliper bolts. And you are all done. You can slap your wheel back on and then tighten the lug nuts down, torque them down to 80 foot-pounds in this case. I've snugged those down and then dropped the car. It's important to use a torque wrench and do your crisscross pattern so that way you have even clamping force of the lug nuts on the new rotor, so you don't get any pulsating brakes or anything like that. At this point, I'm going to cut the video because the other side is the exact same thing. Just make sure to recheck your brake fluid in the master cylinder level that I showed you before in the reservoir up there. And you might want to look up how to brandish or break in your brakes, but in a nutshell, you want to take it for a good ride and hit the brakes hard. The first, you don't want to jam on them super hard, but get it up to, 40 miles an hour and then do a good, consistent, hard brake. And then again, and do that maybe 3 or 4 times to break the new pads into the rotors and burn off this coating. Or in the case if you have standard rotors, they have the oil on the inside of them. You'll see smoke pouring out from the wheels. Totally normal. And once you break those brakes in, you should get a lot of life out of them. I'm actually going to be ordering the new caliper piston seals that you saw in there that were torn before in this video. I'm going to order those and replace those at a later time. Because you could just replace the whole calipers, but from my experience, the aftermarket and rebuilt calipers just don't have the same life. It seems like they're just slapping those things together, and the machine tolerances, they're not as good as a factory caliper. So in this case, there was no problem with the caliper piston at this time. I'm going to get the new seal, replace it, and go from there. Also, when you're all done, make sure when you first start the car, you got to pump your brake pedal up until it gets firm before you go driving the car. Because, otherwise it's going to go to the floor, and if you put it in gear, then you're running into your house possibly. Hopefully I didn't miss too much in this and you got some value or some tips out of it. Drop it a thumbs up if you did, or consider subscribing. Leave a comment, anything like that. Or if you have any additional information that or tips, suggestions you'd like to add, plug those in too. So till next time, I'll see you. And don't forget to put the nipple cap back on either.